You ever get yelled at by a woman in pearls for ruining her brunch with washable paint? Yeah, that happened, and somehow, that paint ended up exposing years of harassment, flipping an entire neighborhood upside down. It all started on a normal Tuesday morning. I was doing what I do every day, walking my dog, Buddy, down by the lake, sipping on coffee, just soaking in the peace and quiet. I moved to this little lakeside neighborhood in Ohio for that reason: the calm, the trees, the still water, the space to breathe. I'm a graphic designer, work from home, and honestly, those morning walks, they're how I stay sane. But peace doesn't last long when you've got someone like Margaret Caldwell running the show. Margaret was our HOA president. Early 60s, always dressed like she's heading to a board meeting at a Fortune 500 company, even if she's just walking her dog. She drove this white Mercedes like she was patrolling her own little kingdom, eyes scanning for anything out of order. And by out of order, I mean things she personally didn't like: kids choking on the sidewalk, dogs off-leash, porch lights that were too warm-toned. She didn't just enforce the rules, she was the rules. Or so she thought. Anyway, that Tuesday, I'm sitting on the public beach with Buddy, sketching, drinking coffee, minding my business. Margaret shows up, heels clicking against the boardwalk like a warning shot. "Excuse me," she says with that condescending little smile that never touches her eyes, "this area is actually reserved for HOA-approved events only. It's not meant for, casual use." I blinked, confused. Because I'd read the HOA documents when I bought my house, boring as they were, and there was nothing about the lakefront being off-limits. So I said, as politely as I could, I thought this was a shared space for all residents. Her smile tightened, and she glanced at Buddy like he'd just peed on her shoes. "Technically, yes. But we try to maintain a certain atmosphere." I should have walked away then. Should have known she wasn't just some overly involved neighbor, she was on a mission. But I shrugged it off, figured maybe she was having a bad day. I was wrong. Over the next few weeks, Margaret started popping up more and more, always at our spot, always with some passive-aggressive comment about how the lake should be preserved for appropriate activities. Then, like clockwork, signs started appearing, actual wooden signs staked into the sand: "No dogs allowed. Private access only. HOA enforced." Looked official, had the logo and everything. But it all felt shady. So I called the HOA office. Nancy, the secretary, answered, sweet older woman who always sounded like she was 2 seconds away from quitting. I described the signs, and there was this long pause before she said, "That wasn't run through the board." Things got weird fast after that. The next week, Margaret held this exclusive lakeside tea party, and I'm not talking folding chairs and lemonade. I'm talking linen tablecloths, champagne glasses, full catered spread. It was staged right on the beach, our beach completely blocking the shoreline. I showed up with Buddy on his leash, and Margaret didn't miss a beat. "Oh, look," she said, loud enough for her friends to hear, "the community wildlife has returned." They all laughed. These women in pearls and pastel sweaters, sipping bubbly like they were at some country club. Buddy just stood there, tail wagging, while I burned inside. I didn't say a word, just turned around and left, but I felt it boiling. That night, Walter, my neighbor, retired schoolteacher, one of the oldest residents on the block, knocked on my door. No small talk, no hello. Just walked in and sat down. "You're not the first person she's done this to," he said. "And if you don't fight back, you won't be the last." He told me about Zoe, a woman who used to live here, who documented Margaret's behavior, but got scared off after a cease and desist letter from Margaret's lawyer. "She has a pattern," Walter said. "Families with kids, dog owners, anyone who doesn't fit her mold, she pushes them out." I didn't sleep that night. Next morning, I grabbed my folding chair, my book, and Buddy, and we went straight to the lake. Not the beach this time, but the grassy patch right next to it. Public land. I checked the map twice. Sat down, opened my book, and started reading like I hadn't a care in the world. Cue Margaret. She walked by, arm in arm with another woman I'd never seen before, both of them glancing at me like I was a stain. Some people just don't respect boundaries, she said loudly. Body packed up, but I didn't even look their way. 15 minutes later, police sirens. I kid you not, she called the cops on me for reading a book. The officers were as confused as I was. One of them asked, "Are you conducting surveillance on private property?" I just blinked. "I'm reading. On a lawn chair. With my dog." They took my info, filed a report, and left probably wondering what kind of Stepford nightmare they'd just walked into. But it didn't stop there. Over the next few days, I got letters. Official-looking violations. One said I was disrupting wildlife habitat. Another claimed aggressive pet behavior about Buddy, who's literally afraid of butterflies. The third. Unauthorized recreational use of HOA landscaping. For sitting. On grass. That was it. I was either gonna lose my mind or do something. So I chose to do something. With some help from Walter, I found Zoe. She still had the evidence documents, photos, emails, even old texts from Margaret threatening legal action. Turns out, she'd been collecting it all just in case someone else got targeted. We met up, swapped notes, and started building a case. Nancy, bless her heart, finally cracked. "I was told to send those letters," she admitted. Margaret pressured me. I didn't want to, but she said if I didn't, I'd be replaced. So yeah, the whole thing. A paper trail of fake violations, intimidation, abuse of power. And me. I had a bucket of paint. Washable paint. Bright yellow, blue, the stuff kids use for summer sidewalk games. Non-toxic, easy to clean, but hard to ignore. Margaret was throwing another branch. Bigger this time. Fancier. She'd roped off the whole beach, added signage, even had catering trays lined up. It was like a wedding reception except no one invited the neighborhood. So I showed up. Walked right up to the table, looked her dead in the eyes, and dumped a bucket all over it. Paint splashed everywhere, tablecloth, champagne, chairs, shoes. Some got on Margaret's pristine white blazer, which I'll admit was kind of satisfying. The whole party froze. It was like time stopped. Then chaos. Margaret screamed like she'd been shot. People shrieked, scrambled, slipped on the paint. Buddy just sat there, tail wagging, like this is new. She called 911 again, this time sobbing about vandalism, assault, public indecency, I don't even know. Cops showed up. Same ones. They looked at the scene, then looked at me, and I swear the younger one smiled. They asked what happened, and I told them. I dumped washable paint as a form of protest. No one was hurt. No property was damaged. It was a message. Margaret's lawyer tried to spin it. Called an emergency HOA meeting. She showed up with binders, photos, witnesses. Tried to paint me, no pun intended, as a violent, unstable neighbor. But we had our own files. Zoe testified. Nancy came clean. Walter backed us up. One by one, neighbors stood and told their own stories of bird feeders removed, kids banned from the beach, dogs threatened, letters sent, threats made. Margaret went pale. The vote was 38-9. She was removed. A week later, for sale, sign on her lawn. And now? Buddy and I walk by the lake every morning. No more signs. No more warnings. Just neighbors waving, chatting, letting their dogs play. Zoe moved back. Nancy got promoted. Walter's planning a community garden on the land Margaret used to block off for her brunches. The lake's still there. So's the peace. But now, so is the justice. So tell me, if someone stole your space, your peace, your right to exist in your own neighborhood, what would you have done? Paint or walk away? Drop a comment. I want to know.